What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today we have the one and only Jonathan Suckling. If you don't know who he is, you can jump on TikTok or Facebook or any other social media platform to see him jumping around like a nutcase, making his couples laugh and just being a general all-round good dude. And we've got him in the studio here today to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, general banter, and just having a good time. So let's jump into the episode.
I've been watching these episodes all week, and I can tell you, once you hear about a foot and a half away from Chris and he's just staring deeply into your eyes,
you like that?
Deep voice coming through the ears, very
Jonathan
intense.
Suckling.
I don't know if I feel comfortable yet. Warm me up, Chris. Far out.
Should we warm you up with some like intro music?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
I knew you'd dance to it. He's doing it.
Oh, it's getting jiggy.
Work it.
It's getting jiggy.
You know this is going on TikTok.
Twerking. Oh, I've got to stay close when I twerk.
What's going on, Johnny?
What's up, Chris?
Jonathan Suckling.
Who's that?
It's good to have you here, man.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me.
I've been excited about this one.
Me too.
You're a bit unique, I think.
Go on. Tell me more.
You just have, I think out of any photographer I know, you have the most passion for pretty much anything in the industry.
Thank you, bro.
Like when it comes to gear, shooting, getting to know your clients, your like everything, marketing, websites, your workshops. I talk a lot about getting shit done and like doing a lot of shit on the podcast and like motivating people, but you kind of do you do all the things, but you go all out and like all of them. Like it's pretty epic. So that's why I was pretty excited to have you on. And I have a whole bunch of things to talk about, a bunch of questions.
Can't wait.
But very first, I just want you to, I mean, a lot of people listening to this are going to know you, but a lot of the YouTube subscribers and stuff will not. So I want you to give us like an overview of like who you are, like from like, you can take as long as you want, but like a kind of good overview of why you even started.
Cool.
And you know where you went and where you are now and what you shoot.
Cool. Well, yes, I'm Jonathan Suckling. I am 28 years old, Capricorn, based in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, New Zealand. So essentially, I got into this business about 10 years ago, straight out of high school. So I was in high school. I was taking photos. I'd had a camera at my hand for about a year towards the last end of high school. And I hadn't even considered doing this as a career. I just thought I wanted to become a teacher perhaps, or who knows what else I wanted to be. Yeah. And then I came across the work of James Day, we all know who Big Daddy James Day is.
He's on the podcast on Monday.
There you go. And so, essentially, when I came across his work, I hadn't seen modern wedding photography before then. And I was enjoying photographing people, but didn't even think of it as a career. Yeah. And the second I saw his work, I was like, boom, that's what I want to do. I want to photograph weddings. So kind of just became absolutely tunnel visioned, and his work really it bamboozled me. Like I didn't realize that like wedding photography could be so creative and dynamic. And it kind of opened a portal for me into modern wedding photography. And so pretty much at the end of high school, I was like dead set on being a wedding photographer. I actually ended up getting in touch with James and saying, if I could be where you are in 10 years' time, I'd be so happy. And you can ask him on Monday if I'm where he was 10 years ago now. But essentially, I kind of, he got back in touch with me and we formed a bit of a friendship. And I ended up going and spending 2 months living and working in Sydney with James over there, shooting a bunch of weddings.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. And then I went and studied commercial photography at South Seas, which is kind of just to keep the parents happy, to get a degree, a piece of paper. So I did like a 1-year diploma in commercial photography, and that kind of exposed me to a whole range of different things you can photograph. So portrait, fashion, food, product, editorial, landscapes, architecture, just a whole range of different things you can photograph. And at the end of that, I was just still dead set on being a wedding photographer. And at the time I was just so chomping at the bit. That's something that I always, it can be said both ways, but anyway, I was champing at the bit. I'm gonna use that one now. to just get into wedding photography. But I'm really glad that I actually did that year, because I think it just gave me, I was like 17 at the time, so it just gave me a year to kind of actually mature and grow up socially. And I think that was really, really helpful, because
I can't imagine shooting weddings at 17.
well, we can talk about first weddings if you want, because I've got a few different weddings I count as my first. But yeah, I think like I was just so keen to get into it. But it's funny because I wouldn't be much further ahead if I'd just done it 1 year earlier. You know, it's kind of like more valuable to get life experience at that point and to meet new people like I did in that course. So I did that course, and then finishing that course, I got in touch with Jake Thomas, who I know Justin mentioned the other day.
Yeah.
And I pretty much asked Jake if I could come hang out and help him out at weddings. And I spent a whole season probably doing about 30 weddings, hanging out with Jake a full summer. And then after that summer finished, he was just like, dude, I think you're ready to go. So he just started sending me referrals. And from that first year, I just had the ball rolling, and I booked out 20 or 30 weddings my first season off those referrals from Jake. And yeah, and then I was just
crazy.
like, yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, I kind of just I looked to who I saw as the best people in our part of the world. And I just got in touch, excited to try and learn as much as I could from them. And because for me, I'm the kind of person who, I'm a bit of an overthinker, and I can't, there was always two schools of thought, you know, either have no experience shooting weddings and just jump into them, or go and do your time assisting and learning from people. And I definitely fell into the latter category, where I felt like, especially as a young kid, you know, when I'm at a wedding and I'm 17 or 18, I think I struggled with, you know, having enough confidence that the call I was making was the correct call necessarily, when you've got like, I don't know, a bunch of mid-30s people at this fancy venue on Waiheke, and you're like trying to decide something about how the day runs. I felt like I needed to have the confidence from, you know, drawing on a combined 20 or 30 years of experience from James and Jake, knowing how they would respond in the same situation. That kind of gave me the confidence to be like, nah, this isn't just a 17-year-old kid saying this. This is like me standing on the shoulders of giants, and this is what my mentors would do as well. So
yeah,
yeah, and then so yeah, it's the ball started rolling from those referrals, and yeah, it just didn't stop since then. So it's been a whole journey. I'd break my career up into two phases. The initial hustle and just going for it, and building my brand just by throwing myself in the deep end and figuring out what I do when I'm in the pressure cooker that is a wedding.
Yeah.
And then I think the second half of my career was probably just before COVID, which is where, and we can talk about this later as well, but I got really into playing Fortnite, the video game.
Yeah.
And I built a gaming
we had a
PC.
couple of games together.
Yeah, I got deep into that, and like, you know me, I just, as soon as I become obsessed with something, like the other day I was at I popped into the career shop where I live, the post shop, and yeah, there was actually like a darts store built into it. And next thing, I'm like 45 minutes in a conversation with this guy all about darts, what makes a good dart player, the composition of a dart, the tip, the shaft, you know, all these kind of, I get obsessed with random things. So what was I talking about here?
The second phase of your career.
Yeah, the second phase. So I became obsessed with Fortnite to the point where I was like trying to play in competitions and playing many hours a day. It was when my partner Bailey was doing her postgrad in Dunedin. So in the winter, I just had all the spare time, and so I just sunk it into gaming. And anyway, so I effectively became very obsessed with that. And then I realized, hang on a second, like my business was coasting. I think I had kind of met all my heroes and achieved all the goals that I hoped to achieve when I started out. And so I just started coasting, and I was like, cool, I'm done. I've got what I wanted out of this. And then found the new thing to be obsessed with, which was gaming. And after a while, I realized like actually my business, I shot like 30 weddings a year for the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And then I started shooting like 20 or less a year, which was fine as a young person when you're still in that student life. But I was like, hang on a second, like I want to buy a house, like I want to do other things. So essentially I quit gaming. I had to go cold turkey. I tried like uninstalling the game. I tried storing my gaming monitor in a different room. And I think I got an addictive personality, and I just had to actually sell all my gaming essentials. So I just could not actually physically game. And since I did that, it was like my dopamine levels reset. And, you know, I went from having like, you know, this high dosage of sugar and dopamine and gaming every day to taking that all out. And then the only sugar I had in my life was like getting a new inquiry or closing, you know, getting a booking or having a piece of content go viral. So that became my new dopamine feed. and essentially simple things like reconciling statements and Xero became exciting. So
That's impressive.
Yeah, I think through COVID, I think I just kind of recalibrated myself there and just became obsessed with building a much better business and smashing it. And now coming off the end of those 3 years, it's like I'm in a great place, and I'm really stoked that I did that. And that's obviously when I went through the TikTok journey, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, as well. But
definitely.
Yeah, so that's the bit of the intro. That's where I'm at. And
it's funny, we've known each other for quite a few years now, and I didn't know a lot of that.
Yeah.
Most of our conversations are heated discussions on equipment.
Chris and I have this thing where if we try to message each other, we decided on a rule, which is that if we're going to have a conversation about tech related nerdery, we have to have it in person or on the phone. Like, we cannot have it messaging back and forth, because we can both type really fast, and all of a sudden it's like this, like,
it just turns into a big mess of
so hectic
negativeness.
So hectic.
So now we do it verbally, and it's great.
Yeah.
But the one thing I like about us is that we still keep it real, and there's never been like insults or anything like that. No. And we both realize that it's just gear, and like, you know, it's just fun to talk about, but we're both passionate people.
100%.
And I think that's that's one of the main reasons why you do so well, I think, because you're so passionate about everything. And even just like before I knew you personally, I definitely knew your work, and I was like, this dude's fucking epic. Like, that James Day thing makes sense to me now. I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. And that definitely rings it. But you guys are very similar. And I just never put two and two together. That's crazy.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe I've been doing this for 10 years now. Like, for so long, the answer was, how long have you been doing this? Oh, 7 years, 8 years. And then I kind of just added it up the other day, and yeah, it's been about 10 years now.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
And you're still loving it, eh?
Still loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty great job. We're pretty lucky to have found this, I think.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Best life hack.
And the lifestyle's great, and especially when you have Bailey doing videos. So Bailey is your partner there. You're not married, right?
Not married, no. One of those elusive long-term relationship couples
Yeah.
in the wedding industry. Still not married.
But a great couple. I love Bailey. And she does all your video, right? Everything.
She does all her video. Yeah, so like...
like it's her video.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's like the other half of your business.
Exactly. Yeah, so she studied science communication and filmmaking for her postgrad.
Right, okay.
Down in Otago. And essentially she kind of... she's always been a great storyteller. Like when she interviewed for that postgraduate course, one of the questions they asked her is like, tell us a story. And she instantly had 3 stories ready to go. Like she said that when she grew up, her mum would always, ask her about her day. And so Bailey would always have like broken down the structure of the day and found the story elements in it. Yeah. And so she was in the practice of coming home and sharing a story from the day. Yeah. And so she's just the most talented like storyteller I know. Her ability to kind of pick the story out of something, kind of like reminds me of Jared Brandon kind of vibe, just incredible passion for storytelling. And so she started doing videos maybe 4 years ago now, and it just seemed to time perfectly with the fact that in recent times, in New Zealand at least, there's been a real push for people wanting photo and video, a combo from the same provider. Yeah. And so now she's doing probably maybe like a third or more of the weddings that I shoot, and I can barely remember the last wedding I shot that wasn't with her as the video person.
She doesn't do photo, eh?
No.
Like she can, but she doesn't.
She's never really. She's a great photographer. Like she can take great photos. She's got a great eye. But no, she wouldn't be keen to shoot photos at weddings, I don't think. Yeah, so she enjoys the backseat.
I think it's good to have that separation, and the way you shoot is very, like you are a lot of. I don't know how to put it, but like the way you shoot is like all encompassing. Like you need to be solo doing what you're doing, I think.
Yeah, I think like I enjoy
especially
the
for
attention.
Like the bridal shoot and stuff. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the couples that hire you enjoy that as well, I think.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a lot of, not everybody, but probably most of the couples that hire you has seen your like crazy antics.
100%.
And just love it.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to suit everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you have that niche that, like, if I tried to do that, I'd just look like a fucking idiot.
I think that you have to be. I've got a theory that like your height and the size of your person like affects your
100%.
ability to do physical comedy. Like if I was stomping around at 6'5", like 150 kilos, and trying to do the things I do, that would just be like dangerous, you know?
It's different, eh? I don't know why. It's interesting though.
Yeah, I've always thought about that. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Bailey enjoys not being the center of attention, so we kind of work out quite nicely. on a
Yeah,
winning day
she's
like that.
very different personalities, in some ways, but then you guys click like crazy. It's amazing.
Thank you, bro.
So that's your overview. Before we move on to the next topic, I want you to give us a what's in your camera bag because did you see my last video I
Yeah,
just put out
dude.
about this boy?
I saw your post asking who's got a spare D750, and I was like, I've got 4.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell them just yet.
Nah.
Yeah, dude. How about that,
And I think because Nikon wedding photographers, while not rare, they're getting rarer.
On the endangered list, you could say.
On the endangered species list. And I don't know, I've always had a emotional attachment to Nikon, I think, and you're a Nikon photographer.
Yeah.
And you've obviously, like everybody, thought about different brands and stuff, but you shoot that associate shoot that wedding for me that I couldn't shoot because they were like a COVID postponement. And editing the files, I thought they were great. Obviously you did an amazing job, and the couple was stoked, by the way. I think I probably told you that, but editing the files was great. And Nikon have always been my like, if I couldn't shoot Sony, I'd shoot Nikon. So anyway, give us what's in your camera bag, like cameras, lenses, etc.
Boom. I was gonna bring my camera bag because I didn't, but I feel like I've just really refined it to the nth degree now, especially getting the latest DJI Mini Pro, that new drone.
Oh yeah,
Mini 3 Pro. It's
You got the
absolutely
same one as
tiny.
me,
Yeah,
right? That
and
one.
yeah, exactly. As a result, like I can now fit everything in the one think tank roller bag. So yeah, I'm just so stoked on that. But essentially, I've got 2 bodies, 2 Z6 IIs, the Nikon mirrorless cameras. I've got 4 lenses, primes. All 1.4, 24, 35, 50, and 85. Actually, the 85s, the S series Nikon is the 1.8, so just super light. That's my kit right now, and wireless flash.
And what do you shoot? Like, break it down from like on a wedding day, like morning, ceremony, bridal party, reception. What lenses do you roll with in those 4?
Yep. Also, I'll get into my extra gear bag pieces of equipment. I think I've got some more important things than my cameras. But anyway.
Okay, good.
So essentially, morning 35, pretty much the whole time. I'll have the 50mm on another camera body just spare in case I need to switch to it for any
not
reason.
on a dual strap, just one.
No, just holding the camera. And then ceremony, usually 35-85. Or if it's like an indoor tighter space, maybe like 35-50.
Yeah, okay.
And then during the wedding party shoot or the portraits, I just tend to only use the 24, 35, and 50. So often the 35 and the 50. I straddle those lengths.
Yeah, okay.
I think the 24, if I could trust the autofocus more on the wide angles, I'd probably use it a bit more. But
That's
I think
a native one, not like an adapted one or anything
I've got
like that.
I've got an adapted one. I've got the old Sigma
so that's
1.4.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I think that the
You just
Nikon
don't
just
trust
can't
it.
track as small a spot. But honestly, I think that the biggest thing for me is actually the fact that like right now I'm really enjoying shooting a lot of vertical 35 images. So having that 35, I can walk far enough back to make it look epic, but also like be able to shoot like nice and tight editorial style, like 35mm vibes. I've been enjoying that a lot recently, and the 50mm kind of just complements that. And I also enjoy shooting 50 quite a lot.
Yeah.
But the 24mm, I love it, but I feel like it restricts me not being able to flip it vertically as much.
Yeah, I was just going to say the 24 you can't shoot portrait.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm really enjoying that. I'm one of those weirdos who enjoys the 35-50 combo. And then
That's
so 85
a rare one as well.
Yeah, 85 never out for portraits at all. Never out. And then reception, probably 35-85 again.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same as you. I'm like, except I usually do have 2 bodies, but I'm usually like, if I'm on 2 bodies, the morning will be 24-50, or it's 55 in my case. And then ceremony will be 35-85, bridal portraits 24-50, and then back to 35-85. But if I'm using one camera, it'll be like 35.
Yeah. 35's a gun.
Yeah.
Such a good lens.
It's funny when I'm reviewing, because I did a review on like some 35mm lenses on the channel, and a comment I get heaps is like, oh, I just bought the 50 and it's too close to the 35. But I get it, but it is the way I would do it is like 35 would be my landscape orientation and 50 would be my portrait one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's what's in your camera bag.
Oh wait, extras,
Okay.
earplugs. Okay, people, earplugs.
Oh, yeah.
We're at weddings. Okay, 30, 40 weddings a year. Hearing damage occurs the longer you are in a loud environment, and the louder it is, the less time it takes for hearing damage to occur. And this is my public service announcement to all wedding photographers as an occupational health risk. Seriously, we're at weddings far more than the average person. The average person might go to a wedding once or twice a year. Just like going to a concert once or twice a year and you come home with your ears ringing.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that 40 times a year, that is causing heavy damage. And moral of the story, you can get these really sweet skin-colored earplugs that like you can't even see that they're in. They're great. I think the brand's Max, hashtag ad, hashtag brand deal, but MACKS, skin-colored, foam earplugs, amazing. Take all the sound out. And then you can also get it's becoming quite popular in like rave culture and that kind of thing, as well as just like ones that reduce the volume of things, but don't block it out completely.
Yeah, right.
So you can go to like the rock shop or something and get some of those, but
like ones you use for like drumming and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yep. So anyway, that's the top tip. Also, a floss, very important. Okay,
Floss?
You might have a bridal party member who's got a bit of canapé between
You just
their
looked
teeth.
at my teeth when you said
No.
that.
I've actually got some in my bag here if you want. But that's come in handy a few times. What other random things do I have? Sunblock, crucial. Anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As a bald man, I agree with that sentiment.
There you go. Anyway, that's my gear bag.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people talk about gear and like give their opinions online and stuff like that. Like it's full of people giving opinions. You heard that saying about opinions? They're like assholes. Everybody has one, but no one wants to hear it.
Yeah.
And but you do intense research.
Yeah.
On all your shit.
Yeah. Like
all your opinions. So I've always valued your opinion.
Thank you, bro. Last piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Crucial. All right. The dual wall insulated drink bottle, Sistema, stainless steel, 1 litre. Okay. Currently at Pack and Save. Sorry for those folks overseas. $16.97. Okay. I gave one of these to Zahn.
Oh, I was just going to
changer.
say, I was at Michaela and Andrew's building their fence yesterday, and Zahn had his one there exactly the same, so that's where he got it from.
Dude,
Shouldn't
this thing,
be surprised.
the best thing about this, you leave your car parked up, it's boiling hot, you come into the car at the end of the day, and it's still ice cold, the water.
Right.
Like, this thing
I'm
is
gonna have to get
crucial.
one.
Yeah, game changer.
Water, and I also got that air thing from you as well. Like I've been using, I have been using my Apple AirBuds Pros or whatever with the noise cancelling, and they work great, but it looks funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm wearing AirPods at a wedding.
Yep.
People, I mean, I'm only doing it on the dance floor, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think I might get some of those skin colored ones.
Awesome.
Because I have earplugs when I'm riding my motorbike. 'Cause
Exactly.
it gets quite rowdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good tip. And what about that other thing you bought with you?
Oh, yeah. Which thing, Chris? Careful, man.
So we've already talked about shafts. So
hang on. Here's the here's some of the drumming earplugs that I keep on me. So these things just reduce the volume.
Oh yeah, cool. Because you only need to reduce it a little bit.
It depends.
But
It depends how loud it is.
When you're like shooting on the dance floor and you're like walking straight past the speakers and you're like, fuck, it's loud.
And your Apple Watch has like a accurate decibel meter, which I keep right here, and that will tell you exactly how loud things are.
Yeah,
and
my one gives me warnings now.
Yeah.
Does yours do that?
Yeah, that's why I bought this Apple Watch, man.
Yeah.
All right, let me just ferret around in here.
Yeah, so we've both been so we've both been using the DJI mics recently. I think a lot of people have been using them, and they're great. But I've actually had some issues with mine that DJI haven't replied to, so you guys can address that in the comments. But Jonnys got this new, what's it called?
So this is the Instamic Pro Plus.
Instamic Pro Plus. Right? Is it made by Insta?
No, I think Instamic is a different brand.
Oh,
maybe the same people who do Insta360. I'm not actually sure who the Shell Corporation is that owns the company, but yeah, this little guy, internal recording, 32-bit float, and essentially smaller than the DJI wireless mics. So the aim of the game here is to attach this one to the microphone at a wedding.
Yeah.
And not have to have any stress about the idea that we could be interfering with the wireless microphone system because it's all internal.
Yeah.
And yeah, just better quality, 32-bit float.
It's tiny as well. It's so small.
Look at that. It's crazy. It's actually unbelievable. It's like
Yeah.
the size of one of your digits.
And that does 32-bit float.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
is it USB-C?
No, it's like
No.
it's like that old one.
Micro USB. Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
that
that's
one.
right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Anyway,
nice.
back they go into my little container.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll talk about on random shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
This thing, man, give it a scan if you want. My
hold
auntie
it up to
asked
the
me.
camera.
My auntie asked me, do I have an e-business card or like a virtual business card? And I was like, wait, what is that? And she's like, oh, I don't know, like maybe a QR code. So next thing you know, like 10 minutes later, I just printed something out, sellotaped it to the back of my phone. But it's a QR code, which is just the URL to my Instagram, like instagram.com/ at Jonathan, etc. And but the thing is, when a phone scans it, they press the open link button and it instantly opens my profile on the Instagram like really quickly. So I got sick of people asking me for business cards. There you go. That's okay. Sorry, I'm just really nerding out here on all the tech.
I might have to do that because so you say they scan it and it instantly opens the
Try
app.
it. You can try it if you've got your phone nearby. Yeah, it literally is so quick. Like impressive. Boom.
Yeah, right.
Boom.
That's nice.
That's awesome, hey?
Yeah.
You can do that at home too if you'd like to follow me, guys, at Jonathan Suckling.
Links in the
Instagram,
description.
Link in bio. Last piece of tech, and then I'm going to let you talk, and I'll stop nerding out about my own tech things. But this thing, MacBook M2 MacBook
Oh, you got
Air.
the M2 one.
Yeah. Game changer. Single reason of its game. Well, firstly, the battery life is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then for me, I've been shooting so many weddings on Waiheke Island and just hating the amount of time I waste commuting on the ferry to and from the island. So this thing, by the time I even hop on the ferry home, just waiting for it, I've already backed up all my cards. I get onto the ferry. I've done my sneak peek by the end of the ferry trip often.
Yeah.
Depending on how many other wedding photographers there are to catch up on the way home with.
It's usually a few on that ferry.
But yeah, so this thing has changed the game, just being able to be productive in places that I haven't been able to before and making use of time that was previously wasted. So
Yeah.
such a fan of this, pardon me, tiny device. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I
all.
had the M1 Pro, and then I recently just got the new, well, it's not new now, but the M1 Max
Yeah.
with the 32 gig RAM. Well, we talked about this, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, way better because I was just running out of memory with the 16 gig Pro one I had.
Yeah.
Just with video editing. But yeah, that was a good gear chat.
There you go.
I
Sorry.
like that. People, no, I think it's
Got
important.
excited.
People want to know. People always want to know
Yeah.
what gear you guys are using.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, did I mention the Lululemon 4-way stretch pants right here? Wow. Incredible. Honestly.
If anyone needs stretchy pants, it's you.
Crucial. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link in the description to Jonnys. It's on there, all of them, Instagram,
Antics.
TikTok.
Hit that TikTok up. That's
Yeah,
the way.
because that's the next thing I want to talk to you about.
Cool.
So I don't have TikTok.
Yeah.
I've been savagely resisting TikTok.
I've been resisting. I'm forming a resistance.
Yeah, I have. I'm a bit older than you.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to feel it. And I have teenagers that have TikTok.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want them seeing me on it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Although they do like having a dad that's on YouTube.
There
They
you go.
talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But how many followers you got on TikTok now?
Just over 230,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I wanted to know is because I was talking about this with Ethan, and what I want to know is, do you get any work out of it?
100%.
Right.
I think the first, after I blew up on TikTok, that first wedding season following, I think 15 out of my like 35 weddings were from TikTok.
Yeah.
And now like every single wedding I go to, somebody will come up to me and be like, hey, you're that guy from TikTok. Like I've seen you on
Yeah.
TikTok. So, honestly, like quite a lot of I'd say maybe like a third of my inquiries have found me from TikTok.
Wow.
And I haven't posted there for like 6 months pretty much. And I still have people coming through every week being like, I found you on TikTok. And like, I guess they must have kept a note of me since then.
Yeah.
All my videos are still rolling around on the platform. But yeah, TikTok has been huge, like 100%. And
I think I'm going to have to do it because I
It's
have so
amazing.
much video content
Yeah.
already.
100%. Yeah. That's what I had. I know. That's another thing. And TikTok has become harder these days. Like when I was doing it during COVID lockdown, it was like perfect timing because the platform was still newish, and everyone is home with spare time to scroll. So, and I just had that backlog of viral content I had been posting for years. So I just had to recut it, and then boom,
Yeah, because you went viral on YouTube as well, like a few million views or something with that one video.
Back in the day, mate. Facebook. I had probably like 100 million views on Facebook. This is back in like 2014 onwards.
I'm gonna have to find them. Do you have that? I'm gonna have to dig it up and
I've
put it
got
on the
screenshots
video.
somewhere. A lot of them got ripped and like re-uploaded by like random Russian photographer pages and this and that.
The amount of people I've had, like, that aren't wedding photographers, and they message me and they're like, oh, they send me a link to that, and they're like, oh, you see this guy, he's a bloody lunatic, and blah, yeah, I'm like, that's my mate Johnny.
Yeah. Tell me about I get the same messages all the time from you saying, it's actually my mate at Jonathan Suckling. Next thing I'm in that conversation. But it blew up like crazy. And TikTok has been, and so I've had people stopping me in the street like multiple times. Like I went climbing at the gym the other month and someone's like, hey, I just wanted to come and say hi. Like I know it's weird, but it's been a massive source of leads. Like I think my business has blown up in huge part because of that, even if part of it's just the clout that kind of makes people like reconfirm your value if they're thinking about you, and then they show you to their mate like, hey, I've seen that guy on TikTok, and they're like, oh my gosh. And then
I've had that with the YouTube channel. Definitely,
they all kind of come together.
And I've booked weddings from YouTube from like probably the groom was a subscriber or something like that.
Cool.
So that's been pretty cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, it's good to have you on.
Thank you, dude. Hit me with those cues, baby.
Yeah. I guess the next thing I want to talk about was we were going to talk about inspiration, but we found out all about that with James Day.
Yeah.
Who is coming on the podcast soon, so that's going to be rad. I'm going to have to talk to him about that. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was like mental health in the industry. And I know that we've talked about like mental health and stuff like that before, but like, I don't know. I think it's been more of a problem lately with like creatives in the industry and coming out of COVID, and a lot of people have had like so many problems with their business and just like believing in themselves even less. And I guess part of the reason I do this podcast is because I just want to help people get out of that kind of funk, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did you struggle with much of that?
Yeah, I think through COVID, anxiety levels peaked probably. Actually, I probably was dealing with anxiety before COVID actually. But yeah, I think like for me, it's always been really important. Like one of the biggest reasons why I chose to be self-employed and do this kind of job is because we're so lucky that we can just, if we're having a bad day, we can just take the day off. Yeah. Unless it's a wedding day, and then we can't. Nothing short of being hit by a bus pretty much. But so I think I really valued this job's flexibility and freedom to take time to look after yourself and have those self-care days. And I think I've always prioritized my health and my happiness, over other things. So, I think I was quite lucky the way that I kind of came into this industry, learning from those other people, because I was able to spend a lot of time learning from the mistakes of people who had been before me, and that saved me a lot of pain and difficulty in the way I started my business and the way I structured my packages and in how I did things. So I think I've been really lucky in that regard, having that time to like be really thoughtful about how I approached everything. Yeah. And I think also because I started in this industry so young, all of my mentors were like 10, 15 years older than me. Yeah. So I was just able to like soak up a lot of like wisdom and advice from them. And I think that put me on some like pretty solid footing of like having a good sense of self and and just being, I guess, mature entering things. So I think I was pretty well set up. Like I haven't had too many struggles. I've had anxiety related struggles in regards to being stressed out about needing to poo mid ceremony. That's my pre-wedding poo anxiety spirals. We can talk about that another time. might have to go over on the Patreon behind a paywall. But yeah, like. And I think I chose to invest in bringing an assistant with me to every wedding, because I used to get really anxious. Like I used to have a sensitive stomach and I had anxiety that interrelated with that. And I think once I started bringing an assistant to every wedding, knowing that if I had to go to the toilet mid-ceremony, they could just hold a camera and it wouldn't look like the end of the world compared to where's the photographer gone? He's not here at the ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do about that? You can't.
Exactly.
It's not like a choice.
Yeah. So I started bringing an assistant with me to every wedding just to have that company and feel like there's that backup there. And that's been a huge, like, amazing investment for me in terms of like my mental health and making wedding days so much less stressful. Like I used to be careful what I ate before a wedding. Now I'll just go crazy kind of thing. Yeah.
And you you still take a second, like it's not a second, you don't use second shooters really, do you?
No.
But you take someone like an assistant that is behind the scenes filming all your antics on a phone, right?
Yeah.
Every wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I don't use second shooters at all anymore. And I don't,
just before you get onto that,
yes,
this is how you film all your stuff. So it's like a marketing person on scene, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Go.
Yeah. So essentially, the aim of the game for my assistant on a wedding day is to roll my camera, my phone. I give them my phone and tell them to just record everything. Yeah. And the aim of the game there is to for them to put together a series of Instagram stories from throughout the wedding day that kind of just show off, what the experience is like having me as a photographer at a wedding, to remind people who follow me that I'm out there, that I'm busy, that I'm often at weddings, and to kind of sell that experience.
Yeah.
And they also record it all natively in the phone, not through Instagram stories, so that essentially they're just building a huge catalog of content that I can come back to at some point and recut and reformat for TikTok or for Reels. And so that's kind of how a lot of my viral videos have come about. I've just kind of cherry picked certain moments that I know will go well, or I can kind of twist them into a trend on TikTok and then reposting those. So it's like it's a dual thing. It's like it's the marketing on the day, but it's also creating a catalog of content that I can use for viral short form video content like TikTok and Instagram Reels. So yeah, and they carry all my bags so I don't get sore.
Yeah, but they're never shooting. They're never taking actual photos.
Never taking actual photos. No.
And do you have to like ask your couples? Like, do you ask them if that's okay for every wedding, or like? Yeah. Okay.
So I bring an assistant with me to every wedding as a default, because they're firstly there to just help me like move my car, fill up my drink bottle, bring me a new lens, etc. But in terms of the viral video content, I've got a few different questions on my final wedding day details form that I give my couples.
Yeah.
And one of those questions is, are you okay with me doing my behind the scenes Instagram stories content? And I give them a few different options there, like, yep, go for gold, happy for you to do your normal thing. B, yes, just no posting anything on the actual day itself.
Yeah.
C, no filming of any behind the scenes at all, and that's fine. It's whatever they want. It's all about consent for me. And then I've also got another question, which is like, how happy are you to go viral? And that's me kind of gauging whether or not I can use content from their wedding to create a viral wedding video on TikTok. Right. So, I've got a few different questions there about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
that's one of the things that I've gotten advice from you in the past, because I'm not great with I'm still not really using questionnaires and stuff like that. I am working on it at the moment, but it's not something I've done. I've typically been the kind of photographer that, I run my business very in person. I'm like, let's catch up for a beer, and I do my kind of Q&A like that. And I mean, my Q&A like that, and I take notes in my calendar, and I have my own methods, but you have it down pat.
Thanks,
like
bro.
Your questionnaires and just, I don't know, man. I think it comes down to how hyper you are and all the energy you have, and like how good you are. You're clearly very intelligent and able to research everything. Like, I don't know if you do anything half-assed.
Thank you, bro.
Like you kind of start something and then you're like, how can I do it properly?
Yeah.
And like one of the things I have talked about in the past, and you probably agree with, is, if you want to improve something in your business, you can like split it up into tiny sections. So like you can't just say, I want to be better at weddings.
Yeah.
So you can say something like, I want to be better at dance floor photos.
Cool.
And then like go all out into like researching how you can get better just at that one specific thing.
Yeah.
And like do a different thing every like 5 weddings or 3 weddings or something. So you're like improving, really concentrating, improving certain things.
Yeah.
To go through through the whole wedding day. Do you find that you get to a stage where you're trying to learn new stuff, or do you just like constantly like, where do you get inspiration for like finding new stuff?
I think I'm constantly, obsessed with being better. Like I'll still come home from every wedding with something that I've learned and something that I want to get better at. And I'll beat myself up about it for a day, but I know that will make me never make that mistake again. Yeah. I feel like being a good photographer is you're trying to make a million calculations per second. How's the light? How's the pose? How are my settings? What am I considering the color palette? All these things.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is when you first start with photography, it's a lot to take in. So you can only focus on one thing at a time. And as you get more and more comfortable, things get built into muscle memory, and you can just operate on autopilot while focusing on something new, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So for me, every wedding, I'm trying to add a new layer to my autopilot that I can like enhance Tesla autopilot mode and be thinking about this, like this part of the pose. How does the arm look? And making sure I'm checking that, or the hair. So yeah, I think I've always been someone who's always wanted to refine and make things better. And that carries across not just from on the wedding day, but in terms of the client experience. And I think in particular, the client experience is one of those ones where I've learned to, as soon as you recognize a problem, focus on fixing that right then and there.
Yeah.
Like I had a
don't wait like 5 weddings later.
No, because
like
it's
to
punishing.
the end of wedding season.
Yeah, exactly. It's punishing.
Yeah.
And so like one of the recent examples of that was like a year ago, I had a couple who were like, I started in my spiel when I meet my couples, I'd say, you know, there's package 3, which is the full day coverage, but you don't really need that. Like 9:30 tends to be a good finish time. And they're like, oh, we'll just get it anyway. It's not that much more. And I was like, damn, like something about that I hated. And I think it's the fact that I felt like my time wasn't being valued. It was like being taken for granted just because I could afford it. And I was like, after that, I'm like, nah, I'm changing everything up. So I changed up my packages and just made it very, very expensive to have me for a long day because...
day, you're talking like 12 hours or more kind
exactly.
of thing. Yeah.
Yep. And so if
it's
you want
a lot more punishing.
It's so much like the difference between an 8-hour day and a 10-hour day, and
8
then
hours is
8
so
to 12,
easy.
just insane how much harder those last 4 hours are.
Yeah.
So I've just made and that kind of, that's what I'm talking about, is whenever I find that some question could be answered better on my form, or I'm having like a recurring issue where people keep getting confused about something. This is where the addictiveness of progress that used to be spent on fixing my 360 no scopes on Fortnite got channeled into, oh, okay, that's a bump I can smooth out and iron out in my customer experience. So
that's all kind of making sense because I knew you were a gamer.
Yeah.
Because we'd gamed together. Mm-hmm. Not that much, but you know, we went through a little phase, and but I didn't know you were that into it.
Yeah.
And it does make sense now that, you know, that was an actual issue that you solved, and now you put all that energy into your weddings. I kind of understand more how you have shit so refined.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I was interested in, because we've talked a lot about pricing and stuff like that, and I think that's something that people really struggle with, especially when you're new, but even professionals, even seasoned professionals have like either had the same price for ages or are still comparing themselves to others, and I think it's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
And I know I get asked a lot of questions like from YouTube subscribers and stuff like that on how you can just where to start, I guess. So, I mean, I've always told people that you really want to have like in my view, you want to have like 3 packages, you know, like a starting price, then you want to have the package that you want people to book, and then your like big balls out, you know, everything package. Can you speak on, you know, on kind of pricing and like maybe give people some tips on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to pricing is you want to figure out what do you want your customers to be doing. You know, I heard Zahn was on here the other day and he just does one price and it's just the whole day, however long that needs to be.
Yeah.
And I think he was saying maybe he doesn't shoot as many weddings because he's also juggling a lot of balls in other businesses.
He probably shoots half the weddings we do.
Yeah. So for us, when we're shooting a lot of weddings, I know the thing that kills me is if I'm staying late into the night. Like if I can get home and be in bed by like 10:30, I wake up so fresh the next day compared to getting home at like 12:30.
Yeah.
So I geared my packages in a way that disincentivize. It makes it very expensive for me to stay, and for me to do a long day, for instance. It makes it more approachable for people to get an 8-hour day. And the other thing as well is that like I actually have on my packages coverage beyond 10 p.m. is subject to availability. So that just means that if I've got a wedding the next day, if there's travel involved or whatever, but like then essentially I can control making sure that I still get out of there at a time that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've essentially like changed my packages in a way that firstly just makes sure that I'm mainly doing 8-hour days. And if I'm doing anything longer than that, it becomes very expensive and I'm very happy to stay longer because I'm getting paid handsomely for it.
Yeah.
So, and I've done a whole lot of other tweaks as well in terms of like, I no longer book weddings larger than 120 guests.
Oh, really? Why? That's interesting. Why is that?
That's why I've been sending you a few 120 plus referrals.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's just like you're not getting paid any extra, but you're photographing more family photos, more candids. You have to interact with more people. It just becomes a bigger day for me socially. The amount that I have to expend in terms of social effort just you're doing it. Yeah, and I think also like I feel more relaxed around a group of like 60.
Yeah.
When it's like 200, it's just like so much, and for me to service that with my social energy, it's extremely draining. So I don't shoot weddings larger than 120, which means I don't ever have second shooters, so I don't have to ever worry about stressing out about finding second photographers, which is always something that I found difficult and annoying. Less photos to edit from a second camera. I also don't shoot weddings outside of Auckland during peak wedding season. So I haven't for like a year now. I haven't been booking.
So you
weddings.
do travel weddings, but just in the off season.
Just in the off season. Yeah. Because I would rather shoot like I was listening to actually the Snapping, a competing podcast, and they were talking about how like they're driving. Greg's driving all over the country, and I'm just like, not for me.
Oh
like,
yeah, I heard that one.
Not for me. Like I want to be home. I want to be asleep. I want to be able to watch like my latest Netflix show for half an hour before going to bed and not feel like I just had a crazy bender of a night.
Yeah.
And I'd rather shoot 2-3 weddings back to back, all 8-hour days, all home in bed by 10 o'clock, sleeping in my own bed, not in some random Airbnb that's filled with dust and like some random, whatever's.
Yeah.
And, spiders, I don't know. No snakes in New Zealand. And yeah, just essentially like I've really honed in and focused on what I want out of weddings and decided to become really ballsy about like just going after that and being very selective. I'm not selective in my client type. Like if someone wants to book me, I will not say no. You can book me 100%.
Yeah, totally.
After meeting
Everybody
me.
deserves good photos, right?
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's just about the type of days that I do. I'm not going to go and drive 3 hours through the night and possibly crash because I'm too tired.
Yeah.
And I love sleeping in my own bed.
Yeah, same.
And so I can get up and go surfing the next morning if I want to, not be like having breakfast by myself in a random country town with no one I know. So I've done my days on the road. And so those are the changes I'm most excited about, like from how I've changed my pricing and my packages.
Right.
Just really honing in on like what I want out of weddings.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been so good. It's been like the best thing for mental health. Like it's been so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's such a personal product that we're selling to people. And I've found that when I'm meeting people now, which I'm going to get onto in a minute, when I'm meeting them in person, I just go like this. Yep. I don't dress up. I don't put on like fancy clothes. Mm-hmm. I just turn up like myself. I talk like myself.
Cool.
And, because I want them to hire me because of the whole experience. And this is something I think that we have in common. I mean, we're completely different, but we've shot together.
Yeah.
And the times we've shot together has been great fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Raucous.
Yeah, it's been great fun. And because we're both so into the like enhancing the experience on the day for the couple, to the point where I would be ballsy enough to say that, with either of us at their wedding, the wedding day is going to be better.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the compliment that I get. Like I just delivered some photos yesterday and got like this huge email, and like a third of it was talking about the experience that their guests had, and how much they're raving about that. So yeah, 100%. I think that's a huge part of giving a good experience for sure. Yeah.
Do you meet all your couples in person?
Yeah. No. So, and this is another thing I've refined since COVID.
Yeah.
All on Zoom. All on Zoom, baby. Like screw for me, and this is just me being selfish with what I want out of life, and what I don't know. Like I've had my time in the game, going to random cafes in Ponsonby, driving for half an hour, meeting people. A meeting that you have to have in person with a couple lasts an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And to stack them back to back. It feels pretty rude to only do half an hour segments, and get out of the cafe before the next couple comes in. So I just felt like I was wasting so much time in that experience, and they might not even necessarily book me. So essentially, since COVID, for obvious reasons, and then continuing on for the other reasons that make so much sense, I just do it all on Zoom. I just have one night a week, usually Monday nights. I block out 5:30 to 8 o'clock. And you can fit 5 meetings in there.
Yeah, right.
30 minutes a pop. 2.5 hours later, like so much less energy is expended. Like in that 2.5 hours, it would have taken me half an hour drive in, wait because I got there a bit early. Yeah. First couple, I might get through 2 couples in a night, feel exhausted like I've had a night out. Whereas this way, I clock off, I'm straight downstairs watching Netflix. Like, so all over Zoom, so much easier.
I do feel like Zoom is 95 to 90% as good as meeting them in person. 100%. As long as you're good at it. And, like you're good on camera and, you can convey your personality.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just think it's a bad idea to be booking people without at least a Zoom call.
All my couples have to meet me before they book me.
Yeah, that's what I don't let them anybody sign a contract unless I've at least had a video call with them.
Yeah.
And, I just, because if we don't get on, it's just going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A bit more about you. I know you surf, but tell us what you do in your spare time.
It's a good question. Like watching TV
Assuming
shows.
You're not gaming.
Oh yeah, that's not happening
You're not like
at
playing
all.
Fortnite on your phone under the table.
No. I had to completely remove myself from all those endorphins. So what do I do in my spare time? I'm watching Netflix, baby. That's the new addiction. Okay, 65-inch OLED, 4K HDR. Okay,
wait,
crank that music up, baby.
Keep telling me about it.
You see that? That's a self-emissive pixel. That's an OLED display, okay? Pure blacks, okay? I'm talking Game of Thrones. The only light in the room is the candle light of the room before the red wedding, okay?
You watch a lot of TV?
I love watching TV.
I watch a lot of Netflix and a lot of YouTube.
Yeah. Have you been watching Beef on Netflix?
I just started it yesterday.
Dude, that shit is
funny.
crazy,
I was like, that dude's
dude.
me. You know?
That is... Bro, we just watched episode 9.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
I'm in episode 3.
Unbelievable. Dude, it gets... so crazy, dude. So yeah, I love watching TV, surfing. Recently, I've just been doing a bit of climbing out at Boulder Cove.
Oh, yeah.
Westgate.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just went like 2 days ago. My arms are like absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'm going to get into bouldering, climbing over winter, and then surfing, and just trying to get out there and be as fit and healthy as I can.
Yeah. I'm keen to come surfing with you again.
Yeah.
Well, we've never been, but we've talked about it.
100% has to happen.
Yeah.
And stand-up comedy is the latest thing that I want to give it a crack. This is something that's just...
You demoed one on me, didn't you? Ages ago.
Did I?
Yeah, man, that was funny. You'd be great at that. Just, I think even if you didn't have jokes, just you on stage, people would love it.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I feel like that's the hard part, because then it's like you still have to write something, but I've always enjoyed like improvising and just throwing myself into the net of chaos and just seeing what happens and trusting that I'll land on my feet. So yeah.
But like TV and surfing and stuff, but the theme is that you just like to live your life and like do whatever the hell you want, and your systems in place for like your weddings and bookings and the types of weddings you want to shoot and the hours you want to shoot are all made around that, right?
100%.
So it's like I guess what I'm getting to is that when you're pricing your weddings and you're figuring out your packages and shit like that, you've got to figure out what you want your life to be like.
Yeah.
And then you just mold it around that to what you need, right?
100%. Yep.
I guess I want to bring it back a little bit and ask you about community and the industry and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I think one thing that I've been thinking about in regards to community recently is, as I've realized that I've been doing this for 10 years, it's been kind of crazy to realize, hang on, like the old guard or the kind of the people who were at the industry, the old dogs, they're kind of disappearing, and I'm realizing, because I came into the industry when Danelle Bohane was like the queen bee, and Jake and Mike, and all these people. And yeah, it's just interesting realizing that, like, and then, even Cy and Soph, have kind of like dropped off the industry a little bit more recently. And I'm like, but when I came in, they were the people to look to,
Yeah.
And they really took me in and like encouraged me and like, they just gave me so much in terms of friendship and as mentors. And so, I just realized, hang on a second, like I'm kind of now in that kind of position. And, so I think more recently I've been trying to think about, how I can give back more to that. And, throwing my hat into the mix in terms of the Facebook discussions that we have in that group, and just being like, hang on a second, like I think my opinion's actually valid. Like I didn't have to second guess myself anymore. Like I've been in this game a while now. My takes are valid. I really enjoy that group, and I enjoy being able to help out. I always try to get in there on the Facebook comments and just throw my 2 cents worth in there to help people out and just bring a balanced perspective, because I think just like sourdough's coming back recently, I just think that what's currently on trend is just old-fashioned things done really well, and I think that's always been my
like direct flash. You mean that kind of
like
thing?
Direct flash? Yep, sure. And just being a good person, like I think there was a period where the industry, there's been ego and stuff at times, but because I was counseled by such good, grounded people, I've always known that like all that is bullshit, and that was always discouraged so heavily. And what's most important is doing what you want to do, being true to yourself, looking after other people, and that kind of thing. So essentially, I found now more recently, I'm just realized I'm trying to add that good, healthy perspective to the picture. Like, you know, not trying to be all about clout or this or that. Just being like, nah, this is what a good person would do. You know?
I think it got pretty toxic for a little bit, for a couple of years, I think, in the industry. And I think it's pretty good now, but there's still a bit of it around. But I've talked about ego before, because I think it's fine to have ego, but it needs to be like in check and used for the right, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to have an ego about something, you better deliver on it. Having an ego is fine if you're using it to bring other people up as well, rather than bringing people down.
100%.
And I think that's becoming more popular, which I'm quite happy about.
Yeah, being a good person is becoming more popular.
It is.
I like that.
I think it is, because it's been a hard fucking couple of years, man.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people have struggled, and it just, I think that's why I wanted to talk about community, actually, because it's been hard. And like I've seen so many examples of people in our community like just stepping up.
Yeah.
And, you know, when people got really sick or people couldn't go to weddings because of like restrictions or something like that, and there was no questioning or anything, It was like, let's just do it.
Yeah, I think COVID has like really helped us realize what's important, and like we've become so much more adaptable like that, jumping in to help each other out. Yeah, I think there's been some good change because of that. We've kind of rethought. We realized we need to lean on each other at times, and that's okay. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, dude. So, you know our friend Ryan Watts?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the other night at the collective catch-up, I asked him to give me 3 words that I had to slip into conversation today.
Oh, have you done it?
I've done it, baby. So let me just see where...
I know one of them would have been shaft.
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
Here we go. Here's a little message.
Pulled up at your house, and our mutual friend Ryan Watts has given me 3 words to sneak into this podcast. Bamboozled, Jupiter, and darts. So if I'm playing this back to you, hopefully I did it. There's a little Easter egg. Enjoy.
Ryan.
Anyway, that one goes out to Ryan.
I think he just wants to get on the podcast.
He's thirsty for that mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you for all the help throughout the years. And
oh, you too, man. Thanks for coming on as well.
It's been a good friendship. Great. Anything else to talk about? I need to get onto the Reels content, okay? All right. I've been dropping off the game on short form video content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been lazy. I haven't posted like barely anything for the last year.
I'll send you like a file, and you can just cut it up and like tag me and shit, so I can use your exposure dollars up.
There you go. Get those exposure dollars. But this is my challenge to myself, that hopefully over winter I will have created some new viral content.
Yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to be hitting you up about TikTok. So I think I'm going to have to sign up to it.
Boom. Oh. Just like that.
Thought I'd just roll some outro music.
How many minutes did I squeeze out of this podcast, baby?
It's been 59 minutes and 10 seconds.
He keeps it nice and clean.
Nice.
Nice and tight.
I like it, man.
On the scene. Oh no, we're not rapping. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, dude. Well, I have to say it's a surreal experience, you know, after listening to quite a few. I've been listening to all these episodes. I've been out there, okay?
Yeah.
So it's really weird to all of a sudden be in the podcast.
Yeah, I think people are liking the real conversations. I like it. This has been, you know, structured but chill, and I like it.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, man, and we'll see you in the next podcast very, very soon.